Good morning, dance teachers. I'll just give it a few minutes to see if we've got anybody coming on live. I hope you're all well, and I hope you've had a fantastic first week back on Zoom if you're in the UK. I'm Hayley, founder of the Dance Teachers Tribe. I'm a studio owner and have been for 13 years. If you're in the UK, you will be partway through our week 1 of lockdown. And if you're around the world, you may have been spending many weeks still on Zoom, frustratingly. And if you're in Wales, I hope you've had an amazing first week back in face-to-face classes. I'm sure your pupils and parents are overjoyed to see you back again, because I'm sure they've really missed seeing you face-to-face. And just knowing that Wales has returned has definitely given me more hope that after this 4-week lockdown in the UK, we'll be able to return back to studio class. I'm praying, I'm hoping. You know, it's really hard, but we've got to try and stay positive, haven't we, guys? So I'm going to dive right into today's training, and don't worry, because I'm going to record this and send it out. So if you're missing it and you don't get to catch it live, I'm going to record it and email it out anyway. So today I really wanted to talk about terms and conditions and notice periods, and how I've seen so many studio owners torn over whether to see through notice periods, whether or not to allow people to pause their classes and their subscriptions, or whether they should refund or credit for next term. And it's so tricky. And yes, in usual circumstances, we of course must have procedures and terms and conditions that we stick by rigidly. I mean, that means we can ensure we're treating everybody fairly and people know what to expect. And there's no hard decision making when somebody approaches you, perhaps wanting a refund or wanted to quit or change the subject. You know automatically what to say, because the terms and conditions are there, they've signed up for them, and you can just always refer back to those. So in normal circumstances, they of course are really, really important. But the thing I guess to remember right now is these are not normal circumstances, and many of our dance families will have just been through the toughest 6 months, as we have. And I really feel that it's important right now that if you're able to give a little bit of leniency on notice periods and people perhaps pausing their classes and their places, then you should. Most people, I would say, have a genuine reason for stopping. I think the majority of ours was either they'd been furloughed, so there was uncertainty around their job, or they'd lost their job, or they were self-employed and couldn't work. Or sometimes it's just that their children don't engage well with Zoom. It's really hard for little ones to engage with Zoom. And yes, as a parent, you kind of do think, why am I paying for this if they're not really doing it? Obviously, we'd like to think they'd still benefit from it as teachers, but as a parent, they are kind of frustrated. They're trying to, you know, perhaps cook the dinner, deal with the other children, and they've got a 3-year-old who's not really, you know, doing the class, and it is frustrating. So the majority will have stopped if they have for a legitimate reason. And the very, very small minority that don't have a legitimate reason will have stopped at some point anyway. And you've got to remind yourself of that. Those that aren't invested in continuing perhaps would have stopped anyway at some point. And so, you know, not to take it too much to heart. So I found personally with my school, after the first lockdown, those that I'd, you know, I waived the notice period and gave refunds if they were in a tight spot and had to stop, and I felt that it meant the majority of them then returned to classes. I'd say probably 90% of those that did stop in the first lockdown came back to us. And even those that didn't, you know, there was no sour taste left because they'd gone off in a huff because I wouldn't refund them. You know, you've got to remember, even if somebody doesn't return to you and they never do dance again because it's not for them, they could still potentially recommend you to somebody else. If somebody else says, oh, do you know of any dance classes? They might say, well, actually, Florence used to go to this lovely school. I mean, she's totally not into dance. It's not her thing, but the school were amazing, and, you know, you should definitely give them a try. So just because someone walks out your door doesn't mean they can't still be a referral source for you. So what you really want to aim to do at this lockdown is just support people, and they will support you. So if you can, please do give a refund. Please waive that notice period. And I know there will be some of you who honestly can't. And yes, some of you might be sat there saying, but we can't do that for everybody. And no, you can't, but you won't have to do it for everybody, because not everybody is going to ask. The majority of your pupils will continue. I guess my favourite saying, which kind of sums this sort of section up, is people don't remember what you say to them, but they will always remember how you make them feel. And I think that's 100% true. You know, if when we're making those difficult decisions, we are rash with what we say, and we say, no, it's in the terms and conditions, you have to pay your notice period, and you still owe this before you go, you know, they're going to feel anxious perhaps, because they're uncertain of money anyway. They're going to have a bit of a sour taste in their mouth, thinking, oh, you know, I thought you were a really nice dance teacher. So please, if you can, really, really please, try and be lenient. And I know that's a really sour pill to swallow as dance studio owners, because, you know, we usually think our rules, our way, this is how it should be, but these aren't usual circumstances. So the next thing I sort of wanted to talk a little bit about today is why. And I think what we really need to discuss is why, the reason, people's why that they come to your school is the thing that can really help them stick to you. And everybody has a reason why they enrolled their child into class. It's not always the same reason why. There's many reasons why people take dance classes up. You know, it might be that their kid was a live wire and they wanted to find a way to expel some excess energy. You know, sometimes it's that the parents dance themselves and they really want to encourage it in their children and let them feel that joy that they got as a child. Maybe they were keen for their crazy toddler who was always spinning around the living room and jumping off of things and dancing around, and they just thought, wow, they could be a natural. They seem to have a real love of music and movement. Or maybe it's that their child had really bad coordination and it was quite clumsy, and so they wanted to help improve their motor skills and balance. So there's many reasons why a person joins a dance school. And I think when you're thinking about why your students joined, they might have forgotten why they joined. I mean, quite often you say, you know, why did you join our dance school? And they'll go, oh, it's because so-and-so down the road recommended you. But they've got to remember, you know, after that trial, what made them think, yeah, this is the dance school for us. So you need to really cater your marketing and your communication during lockdown to remind parents of that why. You know, you could do a series of social media posts explaining other benefits of dance other than the obvious just learning, you know, routines and skills. And the more that why is at the forefront of their mind, the more likely they're going to see the benefit of their child continuing through Zoom. I think the biggest one at the moment, I think, that is concerning parents so much is children's mental health. There's been this massive thing how the lockdown is really affecting children's mental health, and I think if we can really, really advocate for dance aiding really good mental health in children, I think that's a big win for us. It's really important that our children still have us. So if you can just get that out there, remind the parents, because there will be times when they're tired after working from home and trying to do all the chores and pick the kids up from school and trying to cook the dinner, that if their kid kicks up a bit of a fuss about doing an online Zoom class, they just go, right, that's it, I'm not paying for this anymore. So we need to really, really share those whys and share your whys. Why do you have your school? Why do you love teaching children? What is special about your school? What makes you stand apart from everybody else? I know when I was young, I was an assistant in classes, and I just loved seeing the progress that the children made and the excitement in their faces when they got something, and I just knew then that I wanted to teach. You know, the more you share their why and your why, they'll go, yes, I remember why we came to this school. That's why we love this school, and that's why we're going to stay. Also, I think there's been a lot lately. I've been keeping my eye close to the dance teacher community groups, aside from this one, obviously, such as Dance Teachers Hub and places like that. And there's been so many people, I think, disheartened about people stopping, and disheartened about people perhaps not wanting to pay for Zoom classes. I know many schools, when we first had lockdown, didn't charge for that first set of classes, perhaps because you know, they thought, well, it'll only be a few weeks, you know, let's help people out, which is a really lovely gesture. But then the lockdown went on quite long, and it's really hard now to say you've now got to pay for this. But I think you just need to be frank and open with your parents. If you're in that situation where you didn't charge last time and you need to this time, I would just write a really open letter, a really honest letter, and your parents will be so understanding if you're honest and open with them. And just say that you personally funded the classes last time as a goodwill gesture. It's not something you can continue to do because you have still got overheads of teachers' wages, and perhaps you're still paying rent. And for us to be able to continue the classes, that we do need to make a charge. It's completely up to you whether you discount those classes or whether you keep them going. I did discount them the first time. I've kept them at the same price this time. But, you know, these are all considerations, and I think everybody's in a situation where we've never been. I think that's the difficult thing. None of us have been in this situation before, and so it's really hard to find our way through. But I really hope that this has been some help for you all today, and it's given you a little bit of reassurance and food for thought. Don't forget, I'm going to be here next week, same time, with some more lockdown and studio growth tips. And if there's anything at all that you're worried about or concerned about in the meantime, do feel free to inbox me or email me. I'd love to hear from you. It's great to hear your success stories. Please share if you've got any woes in the group, because I'm sure we'll all jump on and give you a little bit of reassurance. But in the meantime, stay safe, take care, and I will see you all the same time next week. Bye, everyone.